Well, according to LinkedIn, I am highly underqualified for my job. I'm just going to build it better. And obviously, that's super
You
exciting.
became Neo in that moment and you started seeing like the Matrix lines like
Yeah.
falling and you're like, oh, I can see into the future.
And all of a sudden, like, we're on the other side where now Contra is a hot idea. It wasn't hot immediately. And what if it was commission free? Like, what would that look like? And that was the question that we asked. And I was like, wow. Everyone I told that vision to, they were like, you're stupid. Like, that's a horrible idea.
I love the destruction of the resume.
And like, what's the point of that, right? Like, why do you have to wear the suit? Why do you have to have it formatted a certain way? It's almost like more of a compliance and a power thing that is actually helpful.
No, thank you. This doesn't work for me. I'm going to leave and not sort of like sit on the couch wondering where the job is. I'm just going to make money happen, you know?
Yeah. Hey, Kyle, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Hold on, let me just get everything sorted. I love Riverside. It's a great tools. You can hear me, right? Usually
Yeah,
the mic is a little cut.
I think you're all right.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, because SM7B.
Uh, it might be.
Yeah, I think
I
we've
think
got.
so.
I think we got a similar setup here. I dig it.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
Great
great to
to
see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I think this is our first time officially meeting, but like I follow you on Twitter, so I'm
Totally.
always like, I'm seeing all of your tweets, and then also you're a Contra user, so you've been a Contra user for a long time, and I just want to say thank you.
Totally. I think that's where I think I actually somewhat unprompted used Contra for the first time, and I think I just like DM'd you on LinkedIn. I was like, by the way, this thing's great. So, anyways, goodbye. Like, because it was just it's so great. I just had to put that out there. So
You're a connoisseur of products though, because I've noticed that you are an early adopter to all of the best products. And oftentimes, like I will hear about a product from your tweets, and I'll be like, oh yeah, granola is sweet. And then
yeah.
I'll speak things like where you're, like, passionate about, like, good UX or, like, a good experience. I'm like, "Oh, shit." So, it's been pretty cool to kinda, like, follow just, like, your curation as well. So, I don't know, mutual fan.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I try anything and everything because I wanna see the onboarding. I wanna see how that what's that little extra special sauce? What's that like? Why does something and then also why does something stick
Yep.
versus why do I sign up and go, that's pretty cool. And then I just never think about it again. So I love it. Amazing. Well, thanks for hopping on. We've been rolling. We run right into we start from the get go. And so I'd love to jump into a few things, but I think one of the things that's really interesting is I go to LinkedIn and I'm sort of looking back at someone's history and where they came from. Yours is basically not on LinkedIn,
Yep.
appears on LinkedIn as a co-founder, starts a company, gets acquired, and then starts Contra, and Contra takes off like a rocket ship. That's the story. Like, usually you're sort of used to, like, just all these different sort of, like so I can't wait to hear about sort of, like, from early, like, pre-ripe, sort
Yeah.
of, and how you got into stuff, would be amazing.
Well, according to LinkedIn, I am highly underqualified for my job. Well, if that gives you any, hint at what's coming next and, like, why Contra exists, but, you know, man, I have been obsessed with the internet and computers since I can remember. So I grew up in my parents ran a small business in South Carolina. And I grew up in their office using some of the first computers like dial up, using typewriters, copy machines, dial up modems, first versions of the internet.
I miss
And
that sound, by the way, when it connects. That, like, screechy sound, it was so satisfying, though, when it
there's like some
connected.
nostalgia to it for sure, but I really also appreciate that like we can have this conversation in high def, like 4K,
Totally.
so I, you know, I was obsessed with computers. Like I found the internet and I was like, wow, I'm in this rural part of the US and there's not a lot going on, right? But on the internet, you're connected to the whole world. And I remember some of the initial applications I was obsessed with were things like Google Earth. And I was like, wait a second, I can zoom in and look at satellite images of places that I didn't even know existed. I
Yeah.
was blown away by that. And so thanks to my dad, I built my first computer from components. He had a friend who was like really into kind of like building computers from scratch out of his garage, like nothing too fancy, but he kind of knew the ins and outs. I built my first computer, trying to like make it like, some of the like one of the first like NVIDIA kind of like graphics cards, right? Where you would just like pop it into a motherboard, like kind of old school. I built this gaming PC and I all of a sudden discovered the internet. And from there, I got into everything creative, like Photoshop, music production, video editing, all the things, website creation, website design. And so I kind of upskilled as like this kind of self-taught, product of the internet. I was educated via forums and YouTube, and I learned all these different skills. And I actually got into the creative industry and technology as a music producer. And a lot of people,
Oh, nice.
but I was a bedroom like producer, right? I would just make beats for fun. It was like one of my creative outlets as a kid because there's not a lot of stuff to do in South Carolina. Great place, horribly boring. And I would make, I would make music and I thought it was so cool. And I would like download. You probably remember like LimeWire and all these different tools.
Oh, yeah. Kazaa and, like, wherever you could get your hands on that beat that you wanted.
Totally. And sometimes it was like you would find things that you didn't know you wanted, right? And like music from different cultures and like things that you wouldn't hear on your local radio station. You're like, whoa, that's crazy. And so I kind of had this like weird influence from like the music world. And for some reason, I like to produce music that was very similar to the kind of sounds of the UK, like garage, like drum and bass, like house, kind of like that kind of synth pop style. And so when I moved to New York, I met an A&R producer who worked at a label, and the label had just gotten acquired by Sony. And all of a sudden, this music producer is now ghostwriting for Sony, and I get a contract. And I'm like, well, who am I doing here? What? And like, so all of a sudden, like, I'm a knowledge worker and I can make money with my skills. And that was a huge turning point in my life. So the TLDR, love computers, love the internet. I've always been obsessed with like networks and being able to connect with others, and the influence that that brings culturally. Got into music, upskilled, and from there I learned about graphic design and like, actually meeting professional graphic designers and videographers and all the creative people who were the best at what they did because they were working for all these cool artists. And I realized that like all of the people who were the best at what they did, they were all working for themselves whenever the fuck they wanted, right?
Totally.
Like, they were just,
Yeah.
doing their own thing, and I was like, "Whoa, that's cool," and I had dropped out of school, right? So I was imposter syndrome through the roof, like, I had no credentials. I was like, "I'm probably not good enough, like, I'm probably just gonna be doing these, like, service jobs, like bartender or whatever I can get my hands on." I tried everything, and then finally, like, I was like, "Oh, wait, but I'm also really good at computers, I just don't have any credentials." And so you can kinda see how this this kind of leads you to what Contra is today. But, you know, started my first company, scaled it with freelancers because it was bootstrapped, used every single platform, Upwork. It was Elance and Odesk before Upwork, right? I think
Yep.
I should for that. And then I never actually used Fiverr. I always thought that was kind of like the brand kind of scared me away. But then like some of the higher end marketplaces, there was this one called crew.co. I don't know if you remember this. If you remember,
Yep.
like, do you know the Unsplash team? They were the ones who did like the royalty free, like,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, totally. We just literally are pushing, an integration into Stacklist right now where you basically, if you don't have a thumbnail, you can just grab an Unsplash and put it in there.
incredibly. Yeah, incredible. Okay, so their team had this, like, marketplace called crew.co that was, like, I think actually Unsplash spun out of the Crew, and they have this co-working space in Montreal. It's really cool, like, really beautiful. It's this old bank building right in, like, old Montreal, and they had this awesome, like, beautifully, like, minimally designed, kind of similar to, like, Contra's design now, and you could find, like, the best designers, the best engineers on this marketplace. And so I had a team based in Kiev, Ukraine, and so I actually had, like, a temporary office there, and I'd fly back and forth, and then we'd had some designers on the West Coast, and so I was kind of a power user of this product, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing. What a great experience." Beautifully designed, excellent talent. It was very frictionless. It felt frictionless. Um And then all of a sudden, like, and you've used Dribble before, right?
Yep.
Okay, like Dribble was really, really great back in the day. Like you could go on Dribble and find the best of the best. And it's like, whoa, like what is that? You know?
Totally. And then just reach out to them and go, "Hey, I've got a thing." And I'm like, "Sure,
Yeah.
I'm into it."
That was like the behavior, right? Like that's what we were all doing. And so one day I get this notice, this email from Crew saying, "Hey, like we just got acquired by Dribble." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." There's like this network that's going to have this marketplace infrastructure and all my problems as a small business owner are going to go away. This is going to be the perfect product. I am so excited for this. Anyway,
Yep.
that didn't work out. And I think it was like within a couple of months, they're like, "Hey, didn't go so well. We're shutting down Crew. You got to get your contracts off our platform." And I was like, what the hell? I was basically so messed up. I was pissed off. I was like, anyway, I had a conversation with the person who actually made that decision. And there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And ultimately, it was probably the right decision at the time. But as for like, this like younger version of me, I was like pissed. I was like, you took away this thing. I'm using it. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And so that is how Contra was born. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, that day was the day that was like, "Hey, what the hell just happened? Like, this is gonna be a massive thing. Like, everyone's gonna work this way.
Yep.
Like, everyone. Like, this is just the future. You had this great thing, you killed it. I'm just gonna build it better." And obviously, that's super
You
exciting.
became Neo in that moment, and you started seeing, like, the Matrix lines, like,
Yeah.
falling, and you're like, "Oh, I can see into the future."
That was that cool, but, like, I like to think, sometimes, like, I can imagine if I squint hard enough, I'm like, it's blurry enough where I'm like, "Yeah, I kinda look like that," but, like, something like that, and I was just upset, and so here we are, with Contra, and so the TL I mean, think about it, like, LinkedIn doesn't tell you what someone can do. It tells you what
Yep.
they have done, right? Like, when you go to my profile, you're probably like, "What has this person done? Like, what like, where is he was he, like, a consultant? Was he, like did he work in finance? What's his
Yep.
background?" But, like, the reality is I can produce music, I can edit videos, I can do cool graphic design, I can ideate on pitch decks, I can do business strategy, I can do growth strategy. All these things that I find super valuable when I talk to other people, you would never know from my LinkedIn. And
Right.
so, like, Contra started as this idea of like, "Hey, like, how do we make a better network for this new way of working?" And then it's evolved to this thing where it's like, whoa, like professional identity is changing. Like we don't really care. I mean, maybe some people do. I think it's still like an old world like signal. Like, what have
I
you?
think it's I think it's changing so much that I think over the past 5 years, it's changed away from that, like, I think Google and some of those started it, but it's less about, "Just show me what you can do." Like, if you can prove that you could be 12, but if you can get in Blender or you can get in, like, and you can just render, like, crazy 3D, great, I'm gonna pay you to do that. Like, I don't even care what your resume looks like, and I love the destruction of the resume in that way, where it's like, you remember how I mean, it had to be formatted the exact right way, and it had to, like you had to, like, to go in, and I remember going to early interviews in my suit, and, like, you're sitting there in your slacks, and you're, like, really prepared for it, and now, literally, you can send I've done it before where I've had periods where I build and my wife and I build and design websites, and somebody goes, "I want one," and I send them 3 links, and I go, "We built these," and they're like, "Great, I want one of those." That's the interview process, and that's where we're getting to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like, what's the point of that, right? Like, why do you have to wear the suit? Why do you have to have it formatted a certain way? It's almost like more of a compliance and a power thing than it is actually helpful. They're not.
Well,
You're
you
not.
couldn't prove yourself. In an interview as an accountant or a lawyer, you can't go in and prove yourself to what you can do until you actually get in there and do the thing. But as knowledge workers, when we think about, like, creating video, editing, or like photo or writing or whatever, I can sort of take this thing and have it
Mm,
speak for me, or I can have a list. I mean, I just love the content portfolios, like being able to have that as such a billboard for yourself with the recommendations and your top, and you've done this and you've done that. Immediately you sort of wipe away all that sort of like, who is this person and can they do that? And it immediately cuts to, like, oh yeah, this is the person that I wanna hire for this. That's which is great.
you get it. I mean, that's and like that makes me happy that you see this. You see this because I think you've lived it as well, right? You're a creative yourself. You're
Yeah.
a builder. You produce things.
Well, and I've been living this life for my first job was I we have such a similar background. It's so amazing. I bought a computer from a kid down the street when I was like 14. It was an 8086 luggable. It weighed like 60 pounds. It was known as a laptop at the time, but like, and it had DOS. But I remember very specifically running downstairs. I'm like, Mom, there's this thing called email. You can send a note from here to Japan for free, and it goes instantly, and she's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, like, eat your peas." You know what I mean? Like, just, I don't whatever, and then, of course, fast forward, like, 20 years later, she's like, "Can you help me with my Hotmail? I can't really get into it." But, like but that sort of sparked that same thing, and I basically because I knew that, I was junior year of college. I went to 2 years of college at, University of Alabama. I didn't that wasn't for me. Then I went to 1 year at Georgia State. I was a junior level computer class. They handed out the syllabus and they said, "Today we're gonna learn Microsoft Word." And I stood up and I never went back to school. And,
No.
and I met someone who was selling web hosting at Interland, which turned into Web.com.
Yeah.
And I went and interviewed. They said, "What do you know about sales?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing." They were like, "What do you know about web hosting?" And I said, "Oh, nothing." And somehow I talked my way into that job and did amazing. But like then I got to that point in corporate where it was basically like I was 21. I said, I want to talk about management. And my boss said to me, "You're only 21, you don't need to worry about management." And I typed out a resignation letter and I gave it to her and I left that job, even though I was making money hand over fist. And long story short, but I'll tell you how we get to Contra is basically I was at a bar with a friend and I heard a guy next to me. This must have been 2001, 2001. And a guy next to me was a consultant and I was overhearing his conversation. He was like, "I guess I got to get one of those website things." And I was like, "Oh, websites. Yeah, I'll build one for you." And I had never built a website. I'd never coded or anything. He was like, "Okay, great. How much?" I said, $5,000. And he was like, "Cool, let me go to my car and get my checkbook. I'll give you the first half and then you can like start in on it." So the next day I had to go to start like Barnes and Nobles and I got HTML4 and CSS3. I'm like, I gotta learn this. And I taught myself at Starbucks and then I gave it to him. He gave me the other 2,500. And I was like, you know what? From this point on, I'm never gonna be like, bound by that, like, I can't leave the job because of health insurance or money or, like, whatever, and I have to stick through it. So I've had a 23-year career of basically working for big companies and doing stuff for Google and Spotify and others, but whenever I reach that ceiling or something just like, I'm not learning enough, I leave and I start doing my own thing, and it's platforms like Contra that give you that ability to basically have the freedom to be like, "No, thank you. This doesn't work for me. I'm gonna leave and not sort of like sit on the couch wondering where the job is. I'm just gonna make money happen," you know?
Yes. I love that. That is such a cool story. And I think you probably had some insight, right, from selling web hosting. You're probably like, okay, like, the tools to look for, like kind of the basics of like how these like servers worked and like what you actually needed to do to go from point A to point B. So you already had that in. All you needed was opportunity. You just needed somebody
Right.
to believe in you and to give you that kind of first yes. That's like super inspiring. That's like
Yeah.
that's great.
And that's basically what I'm trying really hard to teach my boys is that like non-linear, whatever the 80s, 90s and previous version of like you got to get good grades and then you got to go to school and you got to get something, then you got to have a good resume and then you got to just sort of do junior jobs for like a while and you got to earn your way. You got to climb up that ladder,
Mhm.
which is all BS. Like you can basically like go on free code camp and teach yourself how to do HTML and put yourself out there and build a website for somebody for $100. Guess what? You are now a website builder. Like, but especially with Framer, what you guys are doing with Framer and Webflow, like I just absolutely love Framer. Now you don't even really need to know HTML. You can just put the building blocks together for people and do it yourself.
And I think that is where the next generation is going to be so lucky because the friction from taste and imagination to actual end product is going to continue to just go away. Like if you
Yeah.
have imagination and you have the creativity, like the things you're going to be able to produce are going to become within reach. And I think there's going to be a higher value placed on creativity and ideas than ever before. Because now, like you've seen this with like generative AI and all this stuff that's coming onto the market, the floor right, has raised. Everyone can make these crazy videos. Everyone can make
Yeah.
these crazy graphics. But if the floor raises, what is the definition of excellence, right? It's a moving target based on context. And so human creativity is going to be the differentiation. And so I feel like the world that we are finding ourselves in now, imagine like our younger selves, right? If we were born today, or like if we were coming into the workforce today, how much better it would be. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. My son is 7. He actually just turned 8 today. And he's got an I mean, I'm just so envious. He's 8 years old. He's got a MacBook Air, and he's basically like he gets like 30 minutes to be able to like play on his Mac Air when he comes home, and he does Farming Simulator. And I come downstairs and he's got that like, you know how you play the games with the keyboard setup where you've got
Yeah.
like 9 different positions for your fingers? And he's like, "Yeah, I just brought the harvest in. I gotta go take this wheat and sell it because I really wanna get a Ford F-150." You know what I mean? I'm like, "This is amazing." Like, imagine what you can
Yeah.
do if you basically have already shortcutted that whole process of, like, extending yourself into the computer. Now when you think about what's possible for him, it's you shortcut probably it was probably 10 years of what I was, like, messing with and trying to figure out.
It sounds like he's already a pretty industrious, which is
Yeah. He's definitely cut from the same cloth. Well, I love, like, I'd love to know from the Contra perspective, like, what was that moment, from, "Okay, they shut down, we're gonna start something." What is that first week? When they think about the whole impetus for this show is, 0 to 1 sounds great, and I love that idea, but also, like, I have no idea what 1 means, and it may be different for every person, but, like, when you get that I'd love to hear about that moment where is it the hairs in the back of your neck? You get a feeling and you're like, "I'm gonna do a thing." Like,
yeah.
and then you sort of start down this dark path. Like, what did that kinda look like?
I think because I had relationships on these platforms, there was 2 groups that were upset, right? There was me as this kind of person who was hiring this team, and then there was the team who, like, depended on this platform to earn a living. And so there's like, and all of a sudden you have like a group of people that are mad, and, that's when like ideas really start floating
Yeah.
around. So all of a sudden, like, I was like, look, like, this is bad. Like, we're losing this platform. We should just build our own. And at first they're like, "Ah, I don't know." But then we start talking about it, and we start thinking about like, what are the problems with the existing models? Like, what is actually wrong with like the status quo? Like, why is Upwork had already been merged by then. It's like, why is Upwork not great? Like, why was Crew like good but not amazing? Like, what were the things that were missing? And I think kind of the initial kind of aha moment was seeing Robinhood, if you remember, like the stock trading app. And they had this.
Robinhood and Cash App, both I would say were and Coinbase were this, like it was this trio of UI UX that basically made complex simple, which was brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. Like the design was on point. There was like these new kind of fintech models they were trying to go after. But the thing with Robinhood that really, really stood out is I never really knew anything about stocks. I never really knew anything about, what it means to build a portfolio, right? I was just like too young, and like I just didn't really think about those concepts at all. But all of a sudden they're like, oh, zero commission trading platform. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, how what do you put is what's the alternative? Is there, like, commission on the other thing?
Yeah, except
I was like, "Oh, yeah."
you have to pay for this?
Yeah, it's like, how is like, okay, so how does this work? So you're democratizing access to financial products and investments, and it's commission free, and I was like, "Whoa." Then they had this crazy wait list, and so, like, I joined the wait list, and then they had this cool virality mechanic where I could, like, invite others, and then I'd move up and down. I was like, "Okay, that's cool." I was like, "If they can do this for stock trading, like, I can obviously do this for, like, this new type of network." And I thought deeper, and I was like, "Wait a second. All the problems that I've had with Elance, Odesk, Crew were around this idea of this commission fee." Because
Yeah.
you know how, like, knowledge work is, like, if you were to hire me to build something for you, we're gonna have so many conversations.
Right.
I need to learn your taste, your preferences. I need to learn who you are as a person. I probably need to know that your son likes to, like, play farm simulator games. Like, I need to know these things because we need to build trust.
Right.
And so, like, one of the biggest problems that I had with all these platforms was like, I would build this trust and I would really start caring about the people I'd work with. It's human nature, right? You start to care about the person on the other side. It's not like some like commoditized thing. It's very different. It's differentiated service, right? Like,
Totally.
and so when you start to care about someone, all of a sudden you start to care about like their conditions, you start to care about your conditions. And then the moment you realize that you're paying someone and 20% of the money that you're paying them gets taken by the platform, you're like, "Oh, wait, this person I care about is now losing their money because I'm paying them through this thing." And
Right.
so the thing that connected you is no longer seen in this like, "Oh, like, thank you for connecting us." It's now seeing like, "Hey, like, you're rent seeking. You are a parasite on this relationship."
Right. And a percentage of the people you work with, the second or third time are like, "Do you mind if we just like, can we just not do that so that I don't," you know what I mean? And you're like,
Yeah.
wait a second. Like this should facilitate this, collaboration. It shouldn't be something where you're like, "Can we just not so that I can, like, keep my money?" Um,
'Cause and you care about that person, right? You don't want them to
right.
lose money. You want them like, you learn about their family, you learn about their their lived experience. You're like, "Wait, this is a human. This is not a
Yeah.
product
They
of a
become
store."
part of the team. Like, especially when you build something and especially from scratch and you start working with someone and they sort of become part of the team, then it sort of becomes if it becomes a bit of a barrier that you're like, and I've also felt it too, where some of these I get the idea of safety, where it's like, don't communicate off the platform, but also like that's
That
not gonna work. I need to talk to this person like a lot. Um, and so like it does become that barrier.
right, so exactly, like, these are humans, right? They're not just some, like, resource that you're just like, "Oh, let me press this button," right? You need to add them to Slack, you need to add them to email, to your Dropbox, to your Google Drive, whatever. Like, there's so many points where, like, you have to really embed yourself with them and vice versa. And so
Right.
after week 1, like, I would have people on Elance and, like, Odesk saying, like, because, we were using Skype back then, I'm sure you remember that.
Mhm.
"Can we just go to PayPal? Like, I can't afford this, or can we split the fees?" And
Right.
I'm like, "Why is this, like, friction? Like, why is this happening?" And I was like, "Okay, I get it, because this platform is the only way. This is the only way to do this, like, there's no other way to do this." The internet starts maturing, all of a sudden you have Twitter, you have LinkedIn, you have email, you have WhatsApp, you have PayPal, you have Stripe, you have Wise, you have Venmo, and it's like, "Wait a second," you have DocuSign, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have portfolio sites, like, all of a sudden you're like, "Wait a second, okay, like, did I really like, okay, I discovered this person on this platform, but there is no way I'm keeping it there." And like, when you
Yeah.
reverse engineer that, you look at all the product decisions a company has to make in order to keep that model. So like, they're 100% incentivized to make the client and the freelancer connect and transact, and that's it. Anything that gets in the way, they create rules around, they'll penalize you for breaking.
Yeah.
Like, they won't create a win-win experience. And so I was like, okay, this is obvious. This is clearly going to be massive. Everyone's going to work in this capacity in some way.
Yeah. Also, I will say that the old model feels like a commodity that is also the same to me as Yelp. When I go to Yelp and I look at restaurants, right, everything is 3.8 stars. Like, is everything terrible? And it's like, and so going through that, like, we found 108 results for you. And you're like going through, and you're really only looking for the people with 4.9 stars because anything below that, I mean, and it just becomes this it's much more about, like, how cheaply can I get it and how quick can I get it, and someone's willing to do it for $4 or whatever, and you sort of get into this, and then it just becomes lowest common denominator.
And that almost never works out. If you've done any type of high-end project, and I know you've done probably hundreds, that almost never works out. You never can really hire the cheapest person because it doesn't work for them. They're like desperate and they're like really just trying to get any type of project. and then it
Or
doesn't.
you have to become good at it. I've been doing it for 20 years, so I've gotten really, really, really good, but then I step back and think, I have to, like, get good at, like, sourcing and looking and trying and, like, and all this sort of stuff versus being able to just, like, let's get right to the project.
Exactly, and so, like, you still have to build the trust. There's still all this other work that you have to put in to make this thing succeed. And so ultimately, it becomes no longer value additive. Like the matching no longer becomes value additive. You kind of might be like net negative at the end of it after you take out the commission fees and the friction and the weird like guardrails that they put on the interaction. And so, you know, what would a network that was vertically integrated with payments, contracts, all the things you needed to collaborate with identity and what if it was commission free? Like, what would that look like? And that was the question that we asked. And it was like, wow. Everyone I told that vision to, they were like, "You're stupid. Like, that's a horrible idea. Like, how are you going to make money? You think you're just gonna reinvent the marketplace model?" And like
I love these point of views that are like, I cannot envision anything except for what exists right now.
it was so I mean, honestly, it was hard to hear, right? I'm like, because 'cause I'm, like, so excited. I'm, "Ooh, like, this is gonna change everything. Like, this is, like, something I could dedicate my life to. Like, I've worked this way, I've hired this way, I've lived through this. Like, I can feel some type of validation from this." And it kinda goes back to something deeper, which is similar to you when you got your first web design project, right? I had a similar experience where I got my first project as I think it was, like, a WordPress project. And I
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Knee deep in the plugins.
yeah. Oh my god, yeah. That's crazy to see that ecosystem and, like, how it's kind of evolved and,
Yeah.
denatured, but I'd say, like, so I'm this bedroom producer living in Brooklyn, super poor, like, broke, paycheck to paycheck, barely scraping by, negative, account balances at the end of the month to pay my rent in, like, my tiny room that has paper thin walls and the heat doesn't really work and just, like, truly slumming it in New York, like, working for Sony, making, like, I think it was, like, 2,000 British pounds a month. So, like, I think at the time, maybe it was a better exchange rate, but still, that's nothing for New York,
Yeah.
right? All of a sudden, I get this, excuse me, WordPress project. I think it was like $2,000 and I could do it in one day. And I was like, "Holy shit."
Totally.
For the first time in my life, I felt, like, validated to where, like, this person needs my expertise. I'm a college dropout. I'm this, like, creative type, which everyone's skeptical of, let's be real. I live in Brooklyn. Everyone's skeptical of that at the time, at least. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing with your life?" I didn't really have a lot of good answers for that. All
Yeah.
of a sudden, whoa, like, I made $2,000 in one day. I cracked the code. Not only did I feel validated, I realized that, like, I could upskill and continue to upskill, refine my expertise, and I could control my earning potential. And that
You
was like a
cracked the door on you, like, pulled back the curtain and you look back and you went like, "There's a whole other reality that you can sort of get into that's out of that linear sort of like you better work your way up the chain."
totally, totally. So, like, fast forward, right? Like, whatever, that 7 or 8 years when I'm working on Contra, this is a deeply personal thing. Like, this isn't some, like, "Oh, I have this, like, good idea, I whiteboarded it." It's like, no, like, this is where I first found, like, meaning and value personally. And
Yeah.
so all like thinking about this next wave of people who are going to go through the exact same experience, right? Whoever it is, this young person who wherever in the world who has like a chip on their shoulder because they're like, yeah, maybe I'm just not that good. But all of a sudden they get the door cracks open and they put their foot in, they find success, boom, their world changes, right?
Yep.
That's going to happen to a lot of people like globally. Like
Right.
the tide is truly rising, right? And like we're seeing that with all these new tools like Framer, like you called it, Webflow, Spline, Rive, like all of these new means of creativity. People can monetize that. There's value there. And like your creativity is now becoming even more valuable. So like when it came to building this ecosystem, it's like what if we made a product that was win-win, where like there was stored value for every project you did, but we didn't take a commission, and there was stored value for every time a client hired you on the client side because they could build their network, and we didn't take a commission, and we only monetized through value additive services. So things
Mm.
value on top of that initial core transaction, that's where we make our money. And like that was the kind of like aha moment. And all of a sudden it became like less of like a business idea and more of like this mission where it's like, there's
Yep.
gotta be like a better, like, come on, like, what are we doing? This is not eBay. Humans are not resources. We're not
Right.
commodities, right? So like, there's gotta be a better way. And so a lot of naysayers, right? Like no one really believed in the vision. Everyone was like, "This is so dumb." Like just like people ignoring me during pitch meetings, like just like flipping, yeah, show me the deck. Oh, okay, no, like no, you whatever. Like just like get out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I've it's so similar, like, and I love that you know, and hearing that you've been through that same process where, like, I'm only we only started building in April. So, I mean, I'm still young in the process, but it's one of those things where I can feel it in my bones. I can see the future. I know where content creation will turn to curation, and we are over platforms, and if you can share in a horizontal way your favorite stuff, it's gonna be this thing. But right now, when you start talking about that and people go, no, why don't you just make another restaurant recommendation app or whatever? And I'm like, no, you just want to flip the table. Like, no, I'm not going to make a restaurant recommendation app. And like, but it's also good for me to hear that, sorry for your pain, but like, it's good for me to hear you going through that. And then obviously, being where you're at now, which is, I think you're just going to like eat this market up with, with such goodness.
we'll see. But like to your point, like I feel like everyone has to go through this kind of like, when you're trying to bring this, you're trying to bring water to the village, and everyone's like, I don't like that flavor, or like,
Maybe you could sleep on people's couches and you could
yeah,
rent it out. Or
yeah,
maybe a stranger can pick you up in a car and take you
right.
somewhere, and you're like, both of these sound terrible. These are terrible ideas."
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and you know what? Like, they're always gonna say that, and even to this day, like, people don't believe, and that's fine, but then along the way, there's always that one person who's just like, "Yeah, that's it. That's amazing, like, this makes sense," and then that one person turns into 2, and that 2 turns into 3, and then the 3 and so on, right? And all of a sudden, you have believers, and it just, like, gives you more fuel, and you're just like, "Maybe this is."
So you're saying, like, so we were saying about naysayers. Do you feel like there still people who, like, don't get it or don't think it's like it's the thing?
Of course, I think, like, that is part of the journey, and I think it goes from all naysayers to then you go to this point to where, like, what you're doing doesn't really impact anyone, so you have, like, your core believers, and then so you kind of live in this echo chamber of core believers, so it kind of feels, like, really fun. Then kinda you go through this, like, valley of, despair, or, like, what I like to call the pain cave when you're, like, building and, like, metrics aren't moving and you're just like, "Oh, like, is this even right? Do people care?"
Right.
And the reality is people don't care because they have no idea what you're doing. And then once you start to make some progress, that's when the naysayers come back. So once you start seeing metrics, like, start to inflect, that's when you start making a wave, and then when you start making a wave and you're putting yourself out there, you attract more naysayers. So it's almost like,
This is never gonna work. This is never gonna work. And then what happens is it goes to this plateau. Well, people go, well, of course, this is always, it's like Airbnb and Uber, right? You just get to a place where you're like, yeah, yeah, just grab an Airbnb.
the
Like,
hardest
all of a sudden it just becomes the thing.
yeah, exactly, and, like, I think the hardest part is, like, that kind of pain cave where just no one even cares. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't care if this lives or dies." And, like, that's, I think,
Right.
really, really, really tough, but, yeah, there's always naysayers, and I think ultimately, for us, like, 2018, we're ideating, 2019, we're, like, conceptualizing, building, creating wireframes, like, kind of early versions. Um, those 2 years, everyone thought it was a bad idea.
Now,
Everyone.
what were you doing during that period? Like, were you freelancing? Were you doing other stuff? Did you raise to do those 2 years?
Oh, so I was running a small business on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and that's what Ripe was. It was this healthy food, delivery service for offices, and, like, there's a whole journey there that was totally built with creative partners, independents,
Nice.
freelancers, right? And so I kind of had, like, sharpened my muscle as like a business owner, as a founder, as an operator. And so, 2018, 2019, I'm kind of part-time working on this company. It was cash flow positive. So I was able to reinvest some things into different ideas. And along the way, like building that company, I had built these teams where I was producing a lot of internal software, a lot of custom software. So I also like kind of knew how to like develop products and things like that, even for like my own use case and for like the customers of our customers, because it was a B2B product. And, like I was kind of like half in, half out. And people are just like, man, this doesn't make any sense. So I'm trying to raise money because I'm like, I don't, like, how am I supposed to actually, fund this thing? No one was interested. We had a couple angels come in end of 2019, and that was like, whoa, okay. So besides that, it was really just like self-funded, trying
Yep.
like how to make this thing happen, really experimental. And then
What was that first angel like that was like, "Wait a second, you see what I see? Hold on. Are you play it back to me." Like, do you yeah, like, what was that like?
so crazy enough, our first angel investor, our first check-in is also our VP of finance today. And so
Amazing. That's so good.
one of my
So
best
definitely you're saying definitely got it.
so it was he got it so much to the point to where when I first told him about the idea, I was like totally like back of the napkin, really like I'm literally sketching out wireframes, right? He was like, "Hey, he's like, what's your Venmo? I want to invest." I'm like, "What?" Like, that's not how this works. Like, that's not a thing. Um,
That's amazing.
and I mean, he was very successful in his career as like I think VC, then turned into like a portfolio manager at like a pretty large hedge fund. So like he had done very well for himself. Had always like he went to Stanford, but truly self-made, like got into Stanford, learned about Silicon Valley, got obsessed with entrepreneurship culture. So had always been on this like outside looking in from like the builder's perspective. So I think he loved
Mhm.
like the startup culture because he had seen it. Like, so anyway, he's like, wow, like this, he's like, I get it. It's like business model innovation that's going to lead to a better product, which is going to lead to better retention, ultimately larger scale, because you're not going to have the same constraints and negative network effects that these commission models will have. He got it from day one. And I was like, okay, whoa. And so finally, I was like, I got to the point where I was like, okay, this makes sense for you to invest. He came in, also one of my closest friends, who was working in New York at the time as well, who I had met, one of my wife's best friends, boyfriend turned husband. So like, whenever we had to like, they wanted to hang out, we'll kind of like hang out with this new person. We just hit it off talking about business. I was like, what do you think about this? Where do you think the future is going to go? Yeah. It's like, it's just kind of like second nature, right? It's like
Yeah.
that we do for fun. And so, yeah, like those are the first two. And at that point, I think I was like maybe like 100K in of like savings and credit card debt. And like, so like, I was kind of just like, "Whoa, okay, that felt good." All of a sudden, we have like a little bit of money here.
100K. Well, you had 100K of, like, debt and credit card. You had 2 angels in now.
Yeah, cash flow, got some angels in. I think we get our third angel, and she was one of our like angels from my first company, Ripe. Her name's Suzanne Cruz. She's amazing. She still helps us with legal. She was a corporate attorney in New York. And
Nice.
I met her at like one of those cringy VC ski meetups that happens in like upstate New York where the mountains are just like, what are we doing here? Like this is like, they're hills, they're not mountains. Anyway, so she comes in, she's like, "I love this idea." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Holy shit, okay." And so all of a sudden, like, we have 3 angels, and I'm like, "Okay, like, that's cool." And then I'm talking to, like, firms, and they're just like, "No." They're like, "Get out of my face, like, this doesn't make any sense." And we get super far, and they'd be like, "No, sorry. They
Yeah.
don't buy it, like, not gonna happen." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And then, and this is crazy, the pandemic happens. And then all of a sudden, people are like, "Wait a second. Remote work. Oh, they're like, wait, knowledge work could always have been done remote. Oh,
Right.
great. So remote, flexible. Okay. Okay. They're like, wait a second, this is relevant. And then we were off to the races. And so, like,
That's
all of a
amazing.
sudden, it just took like a societal shift for people to realize this trend that was inevitable the whole time. And like, I had seen from just living it, by accident.
You and I knew it, but it took the pandemic, I think, really for corporate America to go like, "Hey, business still goes on and nothing and like things didn't fall apart." And then it also meant that everyone who was even moderately thinking about, "I don't want to do this anymore. I wish I could do something else," had the opportunity to like actually go do that.
All of a sudden it became a necessity for some people, right? It was
Yeah,
just
totally.
it's like, whoa, like I have these skills and I'm now there's this whole new world that just got opened up. All of a sudden Zoom's super valuable and your your home setup is super valuable. Like my parents were so funny. Like the first thing, like I remember I got my from my one of my earliest memories when I was a kid was I think I got like $100 from one of my great grandparents. Like I was lucky enough to know my great grandparents, like
Nice.
for Christmas or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to go buy some toys." They're like, "Nope, you're buying a desk." And I was like, "What? A desk?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "No, you need a desk." And I was like, "For what?" Like, I'm a kid. Like, who knows? But like, my happy place is now my home office desk. Like everywhere I go,
Yeah.
I have a setup. I need it, right? And like, yeah, I feel like all of a sudden that became a thing, right? Like, show off your workspace. Like, is it like, do you have a like, anyway? So like, everything changed, and all of a sudden, like, we're on the other side where now Contra is a hot idea, but it wasn't hot immediately. So I had moved out to San Francisco to raise capital, and that was my plan. Sorry, my plan was to move out to San Francisco from New York,
Okay.
and so I had this like 3-month Airbnb, and I was going to go out to San Francisco and make it happen, and that was my plan. And my Airbnb started in February of 2020. So
Wow.
I'm like, okay, so like, I'm like, fuck, this is. So I'm sitting there in
And
New
3
York.
months in, you got all your money, right? That was how the story goes.
About yeah, no. So like, basically, like, I was doing this like this founder group thing called On Deck, which is fantastic. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's
Mm-mm.
like founder community based in the Bay Area. I think Julian Weiser is the CEO. Fantastic. Just like I can't recommend it enough. It changed my life. That's how I met my co-founder Gaius. Anyway, so I'm in this Slack community of all these people I'm supposed to spend the next 3 months with in San Francisco to kind of acclimate to the valley. And I had been to San Francisco a couple of times because we had acquisition offers for my first company. And so I had done the whole like I had been there before and I loved it. I was like, I did the Tahoe thing. I went down to Santa Cruz. I was like, this is amazing. I love the Bay Area.
Nice.
So I was so excited. February 2020 comes around. All of a sudden, they're like, wait, this COVID thing, like, this might be real. Like, they start shutting offices down, and they did it in the Bay Area first. And so, like, I remember the thing that was like the straw that broke the camel's back was like Brex was like a super hot product at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it still is in a lot of ways. I mean, Brex is great, but like, they shut down the offices, and Gaius, my co-founder, and I were in this group chat, and he was coming in from London on a one-way ticket. I was going in from New York on a one-way ticket, and he's just like, "Are you coming?" I was like, "I mean, I was literally about to cancel. Are you going?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I think everyone's going." So I was like, I'm just gonna set a meeting with this guy." And so he was my only meeting. Turns out no one was going. No one, everything got canceled. Everything went remote. And so I'm like, well, I got this meeting with this one guy, Gaius, and he seems pretty cool. And he had been working on this product called Gitspo, which basically analyzed your private code repositories to determine your proficiency in different languages, and then
Oh,
he'd
nice.
cross-reference that with job openings that matched the things you were proficient in. And so it was almost like this like deeper way of like, what can you do versus like,
Right.
what have you done? Right. And so it was like he was kind of working on the same problem, but for engineering. And he was big in the open source world, fantastic builder, but also hilarious and super fun to hang out with. So I went to San Francisco, everything shuts down, have no meetings, the venture market's completely closed, no one's investing. And so I spent February, March, April, May, running out of money, being stressed through my freaking eyeballs because our business back in New York just got shut down by the government because you can't have a food service establishment during the pandemic. Like, and I'm just like, holy fuck, we had to lay off all of our team members in New York. I'm just like, literally like crying on the inside, right? I'm just like, this
Oh,
is so stressful. Like, I think I was like 20, maybe like I don't know, it was like 30, it was like 29, I don't know, but like gray hairs are just popping out everywhere.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like really in the thick of it, right? And then all of a sudden, like May, people are like, "Hey, like, okay, people are people are dying," right? It was brutal, but like not everyone's dying. Like, oh, it's just like maybe like, okay, so it's like people who are, have weak immune systems and the elderly. And so things almost came back to like people are like, okay, this might go back to normal. And there was like that blip of like 2 months where like, oh, things might come back to normal. And all of a sudden, investors were like, wait a second, we should be investing in all of these like new remote work enabled
To Zoom just, like, took off like a rocket ship, like
Notion,
yeah, exactly. Slack, like, living on Slack. Yeah, yeah, totally. Loom.
Hop,
Yeah.
all these crazy, right? So like, there's our window. And so I remember our first investor that gave us like a decent sized check, which was $125,000, was John Danner. He was like a Palo Alto legend. He had built, I think this product called, and he took this company public called Net Gravity. He was like one of these OG Silicon Valley engineering types, also like a professor, but built this thing called Net Gravity, which turned into DoubleClick, which turned into AdWords, right? So like he basically like built some of the first um like ad engines and like
Yeah.
such a hard investor to pitch. He was just like, no, like, I don't, this is crazy. And like, guys and I are just like, ah, man, like, we got to get this guy to be excited. Finally, we get a yes after like 4 weeks. And right as soon as he says yes, he makes the introductions that got the rest of the round done. And it was like getting that
Oh,
one
wow.
yes basically dominoed into us getting another Stanford professor called Matt Glickman, Hustle Fund, which is a fantastic, like,
Totally, yeah, Elizabeth and Eric, and
and
Brian, they're great.
incredible, right? And then Sheehan as well. She was the person who did our job, and she's based in Singapore. Um, and then finally Cowboy Ventures, and like, trust me, there was like a million no's also in between, right? Because we had
Totally.
been doing this since like, April. We were like trying to do this, right? And like we had the inflection point in the product, and we're just like, ah, man, but like the markets were closed, the world was ending, right? Everyone thought the world was ending. So ah,
I love that first check, and by the way, I'm literally at that place where it is we're standing on the top of the hill and, like and we're looking down, and there's this big ol' I've been fortunate to be, through Intro.com, had, Andrew Chen has been coaching me on we've been told talking cold start problem and product market fit and those, but really talking about that snowball, like, literally everyone's looking down the hill going like, "You going first? You going first?
yep.
Yeah, you no." Like, and oh my gosh, I just wanna, like, push everybody and go, "Let's all go on this thing," you know what I mean? And so, like, I can just imagine that first check, which then sort of, like, starts that wave, and I'm sure that, like and that moment, I imagine it also what's possible and the ideation that we were talking about. There's a difference between what you can think is possible, but then as soon as like things start happening where you're like, no, now I can actually make these things possible. It's got to be just like kid in a candy store.
It was, man, and to be fair, like, it's crazy impressive because, like you said, you're 6 months into building. This was,
Yeah.
now at this point 2 years in, and there was multiple like failures in those 2 years where like it was like, oh man, like, do I hang it up here? So like, I yeah, like it was surreal. And then, but I think that was the end of May when John Danner came in, and then by the end of July, we had our seed round done. It was a $2 million seed round and a $10 million post, and, like, now that's considered, like, pre-seed, I don't care, whatever.
Amazing. Totally.
It was just I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Holy shit, we can do this." But there's always a catch. When something good happens, something always,
Got to counterbalance it. The universe is like, wait, 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 hold on.
yeah. So Disney's product that, we had built over the last like really year before. It was basically authentication, the profile, some referral mechanics inside this product. That was like decent UX. It was okay. It was good enough to grow. And all of a sudden, guys is like, we got to rebuild this from scratch. Like, this is a Vue PHP app. We gotta start from zero. And I'm like, okay, so we have all these resources. Now we have to build the team from scratch, and we have to build this product from scratch. And next thing you know, you're back in the pain cave. So you don't get to celebrate that long.
Totally. Yeah.
There was no like happy moment of like, yeah, we did it. It was like, oh fuck. Like, so now the real fun begins. And we didn't launch something that was to parity of that initial V1 until
Right.
February of 2021.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so it took us a whole, like, another 8 months to, like, get back to where we were, and I'm just like, the entire time I'm so paranoid. I'm like, "Oh, am I fucking up? Like, did I make the right
But
choice?"
do you think that you actually by backing up, by going and this is what most people avoid, right? Both in career and life and pivoting, but also, like, that sort of technical and financial debt. Do you feel like you built a better product ultimately walking all the way down the mountain and analyzing it from the ground floor up than you would have saying, "Let's continue to build on what we did on V1?"
I think we built a better foundation, and
Mm.
I have to give it, like, we built a better foundation that we're still building off today,
Yeah,
and so I have to give it to Gaius, like, he was right, and, he's a technical genius. That's his, like, that's his expertise, like, it was tough. It was tough. Like, it was one of the hardest decisions to make, but he was right. And ultimately, we're now moving faster today because you've seen Contra. There's so many surfaces, right? Like, there's so
totally.
much to build, and not all of them still work. Even today, we need to improve things. But like, without that foundation, I think we would have ultimately had to do it eventually, and then eventually would have turned into who knows, right? And like, yeah.
I get where the technical with guys lead sort of leading the technical foundation of stuff. Where did the UI UX come from? Like, was it from the platform? Because obviously, I immediately, I will also say I was surprised by Contra because it was one of those to me. I know everything on the internet. Like, I know every product, but there was this one day where I sort of turned around and Contra was just there and it was like beautiful. And I went, wait a second. That's probably why I messaged you. I was like, wait, hold on 1 second. Usually I see stuff in the early, ugly, it's that like, I'm getting in that Loom beta where it works half the time or whatever. But like all of a sudden it came up and it's like stripe.com gorgeous. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, wait a second, how did you get to this version?
So that's because of our head of creative, Aaron, and our head of product design, Rye, who started working with Contra on a freelance basis,
Oh, nice.
and ultimately came on full time right around the same time. And they are the creative geniuses. But I will say that, like, I've always pushed for us to do brand and design first. And from
Yeah.
day one, we started with brand and we started with product design. We never started with engineering. Thank God Guy has joined, because without that engineering muscle, doesn't matter
Yeah.
how well it's designed or like how good the brand is. But I think when you have the three together, that's when people pay attention. Uh,
I totally and I've had so many people in my early I think that old, like, just ship it fast, ship it ugly, I don't think that counts anymore. I think we're all so used to Slack and Airbnb and these, like, really highly, like these interfaces that have been scrutinized to a T. And unless you're building something, I mean, completely mind blowing now that no one has ever seen before, I don't, and so that's what we did is basically, I think we shipped something and it was only like 4 months in, but even I was getting that, like, this should have been like shipped a while ago. Like, this is way more than it needs to be. I'm like, no, 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 no. What I want is someone to say, this is much further along than it should be right now, and that makes your brain go, "Hmm, interesting," you know?
1000%. I love this conversation, by the way. I actually have to hop.
Yeah, all good, but thank you for the time, and this is so great.
Okay, awesome. Well, Kyle, thanks again, man. This has been great.
Totally, thank you.